honestly, at this point, I don't remember, and I don't even know how I'm going to cite everything because I really like to say where I got information from. But I'll look. It wasn't much of a deep dive search. It was just like what I've watched and a little bit of YouTube clips. So, by the way, I used to wonder like why don't my nails do that thing? They have to be actually kind of like crazy long for them to really tap well. So the Real Housewives of franchise really was meant to be showcasing the lifestyles of like rich, wealthy women or taking care of women who are housewives, really. And so there's a lot of pressure to show opulence, to show fabulousness, to just kind of make things great. And some franchises have a lot more pressure and live up to the hype better than others. Orange County does well, Beverly Hills does well, Potomac tries, yeah. And then New York kind of sort of tried here and there. New York is on and off because at the end of the day, opulence and wealth in New York looks very minimal compared to other places. Atlanta, some people give us opulence and wealth. I would say, I think the current cast doesn't do as good of a job, but the first cast really did show off a lot of opulence and wealth. I think, yeah, there's just sometimes it's not just all the way there. There are some members who did a good job. I would say Eva Marcel sold us opulence and wealth. Nene Leakes gave us a bit of opulence and wealth. Marlo shows us some wealth. Yeah, and I feel like some of the people from the first Portia used to. I feel like some of the people from the early seasons really did have to give off that wealth and opulence. But some people were just kind of like fame adjacent, and so, or famous, just not A-list, B-list, C-list, D-list, famous people. So then they got to be on the show as well. So I think there's been this phenomenon. Oh, I forgot Real Housewives of New Jersey. Oops, I would never forget those. And so there have been a few people who have been caught in scandals really that are related to money. That's the truth. It's not like people are going to jail and doing time for other crimes, violent crimes or anything like that. It's really about money. So the first people who got into a lot of trouble were Joe Giudice and Teresa Giudice, and it was some sort of tax stuff that happened with them. And then the second group that I know, the second person that I know is Erica Jane from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, who was married to Tom Girardi, who we thought was a prominent lawyer. Who turns out that he was scheming and stealing off of his clients. Can you imagine? Now we're gonna talk about today Jen Shah. So Jen Shah is Tongan and Hawaiian. She's really got that aesthetic, dark hair, olive, like brown skin. If I say olive, I'm lying. She's got brown skin, dark hair. Her family looks very similar like that. She's married to Coach Shah. I forgot his name. Coach Shah. He is the coach at the University of Utah, and he earns a good living. Like college coaches do earn a good amount of money, so it's not like he's broke. But she lived a very opulent lifestyle. She showed a very opulent lifestyle on the show. She had a big home, a mansion that she showed off called Chalet. Shah Chalet. I feel like, isn't that like just like a little bit of a tongue twister? Shah Chalet, yeah. So she showed off Shah Chalet on the show. And before even all this drama of it not being really, of the fraud and all these things that she's participated in, there were already conversations that she doesn't actually own Shah Chalet. She just rents it. Which is pretty common in the Housewife franchise, that people rent where they live. Some people don't want to show you where their home is, especially if they don't have a home in a very secure neighborhood, because security is very let's say you have a house in like a regular neighborhood, even if it's very, very pretty, but you're not like in a gated community among other famous peers, then you might rent a place somewhere where it's more like, and also like camera better, ready for the camera. Like I don't remember who, if it's not the Housewives franchise or the New York franchise, someone rented another person's home and lived in it for a couple of years, because it was better suited for filming. I think it was Kyle Richards, I don't remember, but like they do take into consideration like, is a home more so suited for filming, and people live in those, rent out those, whatever, in those homes, of which, you guys, a home that you're renting is a home, right? It's all one and the same thing. But you can imagine having to furnish a home that you don't own, and you know these homes are not cheap. Anyway, so there was an episode, really. Oh, I wanted to talk a little bit about like Coach Shah earns about $500,000 gross, and then he takes home about 300 and something thousand dollars. But Jen lives above all of that. So in the show, Jen is introduced as a businesswoman, and there's definitely mystery about what she does for a living, but she gives people with things. She gives people some of the best experiences in Salt Lake City, on the Salt Lake City franchise, so people give her a pass. There's even a clip of one of the other housewives is saying, I don't know what Jen does, but it's great, like, because she was just had such a great experience around her. And Jen used to boast that she takes care of her extended family and everything, and that she's very family oriented. However, out of nowhere, during an episode, like, you know how these things happen, sometimes the news breaks before the episode happens. Basically that's what happens. But what happened was, the news broke that she was being investigated by the New York District of Attorney for money laundering, wire fraud, and conspiracy something to commit all those crimes, conspiracy to commit those crimes. So basically, she was running a scam. She was running a telemarketing scam. That's the basics of it. So the way it happened on the show was that she was in a bus. They were about to go on a trip. I think it might have been the trip that Mary Cosby was hosting. As I was saying, on these shows, each one of the ladies has to host something, you know. So there's an event. There's the lead up to the event, an event, and then the breakdown after the event, and then they do it again, and then I do it again. So each housewife gets to host something, and then that's it. So many times what happens is, from the invitation sent out, there's some conflict, or during the event there is some conflict, and then post event there's another conflict. I think the franchise that does it well for me is Beverly Hills, in really highlighting that structure a little, sticking to that structure, because people, how things start off in a season and how they end can be very different. But basically each lady hosts something, and then the thing is, what's unfortunate about it is sometimes what people want the other people to see, what people want the world to see, they don't always get to see. So people try to have launches for stores on taped. People try to have launches for businesses. People try to have anything that they feel significant, a wedding, that kind of thing. But nowadays they like to 10 weddings into 4-part specials and stuff like that. If you know, you know. Anyway, so is Sharif. Sharif is not feeling well. He's in hospital. I have to go to him right now. She hops out of the bus. What's going on? What's going on? I have to leave. My husband. She hops out of the bus into a car and she's gone. And in a few minutes after she left, whilst everybody's going, oh, why did she say she was leaving? Is she okay? Is everything okay? You know, trying to be supportive. All them girls trying to be supportive. And before she's really gone that far, I don't know where she went, right? A helicopter comes overboard. Police, FBI, federal investigation is coming in. Okay, and surrounds the bus and says they're looking for Jen Shah. The producers come through and say to the ladies they're looking for Jen Shah. And then the ladies go, Jen just left. She said her husband's not feeling well. And they said the FBI is looking for Jen. What? And then obviously they look it up online and boom, it's broke. The news is broke on the blogs. One of the ladies calls up a lawyer. Boom, 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 pow. They get all the information. Basically, Jen is being indicted. So what many prosecutors do is that they make sure that their cases iron tight before they even indict you, so that they win the case. They know that they're gonna win. And New York, the District of New York, the District Attorney Office of New York has a very high rate of indictment to arrest. And you know, Jen, just keep that in mind, okay? So the news breaks and all the ladies kind of chit chat about it, but then Jen insists she's innocent. And honestly, like, Bravo has just decided to follow people along as they get arrested and blah 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 and beyond. The first person, like when Teresa got in trouble, I think there was a lot of giving a break from her because it felt like she was targeted because she was on TV, and that she was not intending to evade taxes. Yeah, it's just like tax stuff can be really complicated. People can get in trouble with the IRS for taxes. That's one weird thing about the United States system, is that you file your own taxes. So many times you tell the IRS what was going on with your finances instead of them, and they know the correct thing on their side, or they should know the correct thing on their side, but they wait for you to mess up and then you get into trouble. And some people get into trouble for basically using tax codes wrong, you know. And it doesn't matter what your lawyer said when they were doing the taxes. If the IRS says it's wrong, it's wrong. Or if the IRS says, so for people who make a ton of money, there's some people who are just in between a broken heart place. They used all their money last year and they didn't put enough aside for taxes or whatever. But there are a lot of people who oftentimes think they're gonna get a certain tax break or take a certain tax break, and then the IRS comes around and says no tax break for you for that. Actually pay me this. And then most people go on a payment plan. So it's a little bit confusing, the tax system in this country, because it's almost like they want to catch you in a problem instead of just telling you up front. And because they tend to catch people who are a little bit more flagrant with their wealth, which is why people always try to minimize their wealth, because they don't want any of the tax implications that come with that. Because basically, if the IRS doesn't say there's anything wrong, then there's nothing wrong. But if you seem to be living too big if you buy our supplement, we guarantee you. They used some English that I don't know, but it made me feel like they promised me a $50 Walmart gift card. So to me, they said, we'll give you $50 and we'll give you a supplement as long as you pay the shipping fee of whatever dollars. Like the shipping fee would have been like $3 or $5 or whatever. And so I paid it, and then I got this bottle of supplements in the mail. I got the bottle of supplements weeks later, and I had forgotten completely about the conversation. If it wasn't for the supplement bottle that came in the mail, I would have never remembered that somebody scammed me out of $3 or $4. It was just a small, insignificant amount of money. It was forgettable, and I gave them my details, and I remember being concerned that I had given them my banking details. Fortunately, I never used that card again. That card never used to have money. I think that they failed if they tried to use my card fraudulently to bill me. After that point, they failed because I was broke. I was in college. I was literally a freshman. But that's kind of what they do, and they have the conversation with you over the phone. So you really don't have any record of you signing up for anything and all that stuff. So that's just an example of like what the scam would look like in terms of making you buy something that you don't really have need for, and you lose the money. So that was the experience. So I would say that that's something that she was running. She was running a telemarketing scheme. She was also going on further as to sell those people's data after she has used it. So she was passing it on to other people who were telemarketing scammers as well, to steal from other people further. So chaos, right? So that was Jen Shah, and I feel like she did. All the common victims for these things are elderly people who are disadvantaged in some way, and so she was stealing from old people. She really was. And she initially was like, I'm not guilty, I'm not guilty. The reason why the District of New York always has such a high arrest to conviction rate is because, I messed up the words, I don't know, but that rate is because everybody please, I'm not gonna plea, I'm not guilty, I'm not guilty. So then what happened was her personal assistant or manager, her right hand person in this Ponzi scheme, was also being charged with similar charges. And then he was like, at first he was like, I'm not guilty, I'm pleading not guilty. Then he changed from a not guilty plea to a guilty plea. That means that he was cooperating with the cops, with the feds now, basically to get Jen. So then Jen took a plea deal. She said she's guilty. She took a deal, obviously. But here's the thing. Her assistant is going to get less of a sentence, and she's going to get more of a sentence. Unless she knows way more criminals that she's willing to throw under the bus. She's stuck, and she's most really going to do some time. Chances are she's going to have to pay back something to the value of $9 million. And guys, when they arrested her, they froze her assets. So for her to get a lawyer and all that stuff, she actually, this was sad when Lord Jesus, she actually used her mom's 401k. Stealing from your own mama now. So she used her mom's 401k to actually be able to like So yeah, we'll see how it all plays out.